Come on.
Speak Up with Vernisa and Jen. It's time to speak up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vernisa.
Hey, y'all. This is Jen.
And this is our podcast, Speak Up. What's up, Jen?
Hey, girl.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. Glad that we made it to episode 8 on our newest segment, SpeakUpJV Now.
That's right, y'all. We just keep growing and growing.
Yes, most definitely. For those of you that don't know, me and Jen are best friends. We create this podcast to use our voices to motivate life challenges through self-love and respect.
That's right, y'all. No matter how many episodes we do, our self-love and respect are 2 core values that we hold near and dear to our hearts.
Yes, most definitely. But before we get started, a quick shout out to our amazing sponsors. Shout out to My Bar, located at 720 East Manchester in Inglewood, California. Get your nails, your lashes, your hair done. Ask for mine. Tell them that SpeakUpJV sent you. The Instagram is at nyy.bar.
And shout out to Be Actual Natural. Why settle for less? All their products are created with you in mind for a goal to let your self-love show through your self-care. Their chemical-free hair and skincare products are handmade, plant-based, and free of fillers or preservatives. Treat yourself while you're taking care of yourself. Start your journey at www.beactualnatural.com or check them out on Instagram at beactualnatural.
Yes, and also check out her book. It's really good, by the way. So yeah, I'm excited for tonight's episode. You know, we had to get some East Coast love up on here, like real quick. Y'all give it up for Mozo, he's also a mental health advocate.
Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up, West Coast? What's going on?
Yes, welcome. Thank you for tapping in.
You know the vibes.
Yes. I know, right? We were very excited to have you on here. You know, we've been having each other on social media for a while, and you know, I feel like it was just dope to have a quick little collaboration.
Definitely, I'm definitely excited to join y'all. I'm ready to speak up, like y'all say. You know what I'm saying? Show some love, and let's get to it.
Yes,
Yeah,
most
seriously,
definitely.
thank you for joining us because I know it's later out there than it is out here.
It's almost a new day out here.
I know. Yeah, bad respect right there.
Oh, he's like, it's not too late to speak up.
Nah, it's never too late to speak up.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like y'all said, I'm from the East Coast. I'm from New York City. My name is Jose. I go by Mozo. I'm a mental health advocate. I'm a community builder. And I'm just trying to make the world a better place by spreading love and raising mental health awareness. The conversation starts with us. And I'm ready to speak up.
Nice. Yeah. Absolutely love that. So in, trying to figure out what we're going to talk about with this episode, we also know that you're doing a World Needs Love movement. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I'm the creator and founder of the World Needs Love tour. I'm going to city, spreading love and raising mental health awareness with my signs. So far, I've hit 4 cities, and it's been a success so far. You know, it just shows me every single time I do it, I go out there, how much the world needs love. I meet with complete strangers. They give me hugs. We have conversations. They tell me about themselves. I tell them my story. They tell me their stories, and it's really been something that has really changed my life in a positive way.
I love that. Hugs are huge. It's funny because like no one thinks to give random hugs, but I love the act of kindness and the act of love that you're putting out there into the world.
Of course, like sometimes people don't realize the importance of giving someone a hug. Like I read an article where it's like we should be getting a certain amount of hugs a day. Or like we need that. Our body needs that. Our mental needs that. And at the end of the day, it's all about love.
Dang, there you go, y'all. It's about science. There, it proves it. So we all need to give and receive more hugs. So what got you focused onto mental health? I know you said you have a story that you've shared. I don't know if you want to share that story as well. But we did want to know, like, why mental health specifically?
Well, for me, I was born and raised in New York City. My parents were from Dominican Republic. They were immigrants. They came here. And mental health was nothing. I didn't know nothing about mental health. You know what I'm saying? I didn't learn about mental health till I became an adult. And even then, like I didn't know what it was. And I just realized that there's a gap. Like we don't have the conversations that we should be having, especially in our Black and Brown communities when it comes to mental health. And me as a man, especially men's mental health, sometimes gets swept under the rug as well. I believe that I can make a difference and I can make a change. And I feel like if I can do it and someone else sees me do it, hopefully they can spark that conversation. Maybe not go out there and on the street to do it with strangers, but like even having the conversation with your brother, your sister, your family, your close friends. We can have these conversations in our living rooms on the couch, after the basketball game or after y'all watch your favorite show or something. It's more just like breaking that stigma and just having that conversation about mental health. I think like stop shying away from it and more like be more open about it. The same way we talk about drama, we talk about negative things like it's nothing. Let's talk about mental health. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about how we're really feeling, what we're going through. And that's really what led me to this journey.
I love that. And kind of a bonus question on that too. Did you ever find having those conversations in your household to be difficult, especially as a man of color? Like with your family, friends?
I never had those I'm gonna be honest, I never had a conversation about mental health until I was a grown ass man. And I sat down with my parents and actually spoke to them about how I felt and the things that bothered me as a kid and things like that. Like I actually sat down with them. I woke up one Sunday morning, I was like, I'm gonna go over their crib, and I spoke to them about that. It wasn't until then that was the first time I ever spoke to them about like my feelings, like for real, like how I felt about something. Like we don't really ask ourselves sometimes like how we feeling. Like we do it sometimes and it's like passing, like how you feeling? I'm all right, like whatever, keep it moving. But like we should talk about if you say something to me that bothers me, I should be okay with telling you how I feel about it, and you should be okay with receiving that communication about how I feel about it. That only strengthens our relationship and makes us stronger, makes us better. So I think, like I had that conversation with my parents, and ever since then our relationship has been so much better. It improved. My dad has been my dad telling me he loves me. I never heard that as a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like I made it a point now, every time we talk on the phone, I'll be like, I love you. And he says it in his little accent, I love you, but he says it. You know what I'm saying? And that just puts a smile on my face and it makes me happy because like I didn't hear it as a kid. So hearing it now as a man and him saying it, I'm sure it makes his heart happy as well. So yeah, it's just that communication, man.
Yeah, I love how you're on a journey to normalize it. Like you said, there's those little things like someone not saying I love you or like not speaking up if something bothers you. So I love that you're doing that. And one cool thing about me and Jen with our platform, we love being able to interview all types of people and just hearing how self-love is expressed in their household or how do they practice it themselves. So thank you for opening up and sharing that with us because you're definitely giving us another perspective of it as well. So what makes your platform different from other mental health platforms? Like your movement?
I think what makes a difference is that it's me. I think that we all have our own stories. Like we can, all three of us could have been raised in the same household and we still have three different stories because we're all three different people. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I tell people all the time. People ask me about my platform. I'm like, listen, if this is what you really want to do, you just have to be open up and tell your story. You know what I'm saying? And be genuine and be authentic about what it is that you're talking about. And if you do that, my whole thing is not really about my story because I've told my story. I want to make other people comfortable to tell their own story to somebody else, not to me. If you want to, I'm open to listening to it. But it's more of just like we have to normalize speaking about our story and our journeys and being comfortable with that. And for me, that's really what keeps me going and keeps my platform going. When people send me a DM and say, yo Mozo, that thing you posted got me through the morning or got me through the day. I'm so happy it got you through the day. Just remember that next time when you're going through a tough time, you could do it. You got through the day. You know what I'm saying? Like now, whatever is that I said that got you through the day, say that to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe someone else that is like, oh, someone tells you, yo, I had a rough morning. Now you can tell that person what I said and you told yourself. Tell them that same thing. Like continue that message so it's a cycle. It just keeps going and going. Those are the cycles we're trying to make now. We're trying to break those generational, those cycles of trauma, and now create these new, love cycles that we need to create. So that's what keeps me and my platform going.
I love that a lot. It's like, well, you are providing a safe space for people to share their stories as well as feel comfortable enough to even have these conversations in the first place. Because I know we always hear like, oh, everybody has a story, but if you never actually talk about it, how do you even know what your story is in the first place? So it sounds like with your platform, you're giving people that voice to be able to even share a story or even come up with a story and realize like, dang, I did survive that, or I am surviving that. And then these words that I hear from somebody or that I see, or a hug that I receive from somebody is actually helping me not just be part of my story, but also strive in my story. So I think you're providing a really important tool for a lot of people who may not even know that they have a voice in this mental health movement.
Right. And I always tell people that when they share their story with me or they share something with me that's like intimate or vulnerable, I tell them, listen, you have courage and you're brave, because to share your story with somebody, to share your story with someone, it's not easy to do, especially if it's your first time doing it. Even with somebody you don't know, it's not easy to do that. So that right there, we're stronger than what we think we are sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have all this strength. And I think that for me, I just want to inspire people and continue to motivate people through love. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be this person screaming on the microphone like, yeah, you could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that. That's a different type of motivation. For me, everything is just through love. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to show you, like, yeah, you share that story with me, you stronger than you think right there. You know what I'm saying? You not only did you get through that, but now you're also sharing that with me, which you don't even know is inspiring me to make me be like, yo, if she got through that, maybe I'm having a rough day today. I could get through today too. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a beautiful thing.
And it's crazy how inspiring a stranger could be, you know, like someone you don't even know on the street. And I must say, I love how you utilize social media. You know, we see a lot of negative on there all day, you know, drama, this and that, but your page is always a light. Like, and I love that you, like, I could feel the love all the way from Brooklyn. Okay. Like, so I'm gonna have to give you flowers on that. So, best friend, what is our title for tonight?
So our episode is called The Real Love.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a play on that Mary J. Blige song. So we did a little bit of 2 in 1 right there.
Real love.
There we
go. I love when I saw the title. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, we had to do an episode on spreading love. I'm like, you know, we talk about self-love, inner peace, but let's talk about spreading some love too, outwardly. So tonight's ask up question of the day is, how do you spread love into this world? So I'm gonna go first. I would say I spread love by being kind to people and making people smile. Like, that's huge for me. Like, even at work, like there's if someone looks like they're having a bad day or something like that, I'm always that person that tries to make someone laugh. Like, it's always my goal. If I can make somebody laugh, that makes me happy. And I feel like that's a form of love, because you don't know what battles people are fighting silently, and that one smile, that one compliment, that one laugh might, you know, make their day a whole lot more better. What about you guys?
No, that's definitely very true. I love that. And I'm gonna have to kind of piggyback off of that. I think the way that I do it is I like to let people know that they can be comfortable around me, right? Like, I like to think that I can have many different conversations about different things. And maybe if somebody's sharing something that I don't necessarily understand or I haven't gone through, I at least let them know that they have somebody who can listen to them. And then I always like to end those type of conversations, at least, by letting them know, hey, if there's a way that I can help you or something I can say to make it better, then let me know, you know, or if you just want me to still listen here, then let me know that too. And I find that in doing that, people do come back like a second time, a third time, you know, and it's just great because it builds that vulnerability, that bond too with two people. And then it also lets me be comfortable in sharing certain things and then letting them know, like, hey, you know, I may not know everything, but this is what I've gone through or what I'm currently going through. If we want to cry together, let's cry together. We want to laugh together, let's laugh together. So it's just really cool to be able to do that. And then I find that in doing that as well, like, people spread their love in return. So it's kind of like a, you know, two-sided street when those type of conversations happen.
I love that. Y'all really doing it out here. Y'all really doing it. Shout out to y'all. For me, honestly, you know, I spread love everywhere I go, but I really try to focus sometimes on my brothers, like the fellas, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like we always put on these masks and be like these tough guys, right? Like, be like, you know what I'm saying, like mean mugging, or feel like, you know what I'm saying, like we feel like we can't be vulnerable, right? So I sometimes, you know, I catch them off guard. Like, I'm like, yo, listen, if you're going through something, bro, I'm here for you. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't realize it, but a lot of other men they feel exactly how I feel about our feelings and things like that. They just don't feel comfortable or found a safe space to actually express how they feel, their emotions. So I always make it a point to wherever I'm at, whether it be at a workplace or whether it be anywhere I go, my presence. I always, if I'm building a relationship with somebody, whether it be a work relationship or just a friendship or whatever it may be, I always let them know, listen, bro, like I'm here for you. You ever need to talk because you go through stuff too. You know what I mean? So like I'm here for you. You ever need to talk, or yeah, I could just be listening to you. You know what I'm saying? But that's really how I go about it when it comes to spreading love.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, you're doing the work too.
The
And
work must be done.
And I love that you say that because I love that you say that because you don't know who is going through something similar as you were saying. So I feel like with you coming out there speaking on it, that is that inspiration that a person didn't know they would get, from it. Me and Jen actually did a similar episode last week about that, about the importance of being open about how you feel and stuff like that. And you don't know who's going through that exact same battle. So thank you for that amazing answer. Shout out to Charles in the comments, also Queen Vernisa. Okay, hey, how you doing out there? Thank you for tuning in. And he said, add it up. I love it. And I want to say, if you're out there listening right now, please feel free to comment. Ask Mozo some questions. He live in Brooklyn. He got a lot of insight on mental health, so y'all can tap in and engage with us. So we have a question for you. What does love mean to you?
Man, I love that question. Love is just, it's something that's genuine, authentic, non-judgmental. That's what I think of when I hear the word love. You know what I'm saying? Love could come in very many different shapes and forms, and I think everyone has a different way of loving and a different way of receiving love as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's very important that we try to understand the people in our lives, to understand what kind of love they want to receive, and it's also our responsibility to show them how we want to be loved as well. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times people are like, yo, I'm in a relationship with somebody or whatever the case may be, and they're like, but did you express to them like how do you want to be loved? Have you shown, have you said that to that person? You know what I'm saying? Have you shown them how you want to be loved? Are you loving yourself the way you want to be loved? You know what I'm saying? These are all things that we have to ask ourselves sometimes when it comes to love. Because love is a word that's thrown around all over the place. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's a word with a lot of layers attached to it. And I think that at the end of the day, the most important relationship is the one with yourself. And the most important love is self-love. After that, if you love yourself, love will come to you. And if love hasn't found you yet, if you haven't found love from another person yet, it's because that love is not meant for you. You know what I'm saying? That person isn't ready to give you the love that you deserve or the love that you need. So, like, just focus on loving yourself. And that's when I think of love, I think of self-love, because that's the root. That should be the root of everything. It should be self-love. To me, that's the root. I can tell when someone loves themselves and someone doesn't love themselves by how they express themselves, by how they treat other people. That's already like people say, a red flag when it comes to like the word love. So love, authentic, genuine, non-judgmental, a lot of layers, but it starts with you. You are the root of love.
Oh my gosh, I feel like that was the definition of love if I have ever heard of one, and I feel like you should be our third co-host on the show as a regular. But I like that you brought up too that there's many different ways to love somebody and different ways to even love yourself, right? Because like it's one thing for us to know how we show love, right? Whether like if any of y'all know about the 5 love languages, right? I mean, I'm sure y'all do, but anybody watching out there, so that can be extended even into like friendships, into family relationships, but even into yourself, right? Like how often are you showing love to yourself, expressing in that certain type of language? Like, are you writing to yourself? Are you taking yourself out on dates? Are you doing active service for yourself? Like there's different things like that you can definitely pour more into yourself, whether you're in a relationship or not, because you still need to find that time for yourself. Like you were saying, that relationship with yourself is the most important one. So when you fully know how to love yourself correctly, there's no way you're going to allow somebody who doesn't know how to do that be in your life. And that way you're not wasting anybody's time, right? Your own and that other person. And you're able to fully function in love too. Like even if you've never had necessarily healthy love growing up or anything like that, when you get older, that's no longer an excuse to continue that cycle, right? Because if you're not working on that relationship with yourself, then you're just going to continue it. So when you are trying to love yourself properly, then like it's almost like all the other relationships in your life start to fall into place as well, and they start to become a little bit easier in the sense of you're understanding maybe your partner, your family, your friends, and then you understand yourself ultimately more in the end too. So I think that's a really good point that you brought up. If anybody missed that, I hope that you rewind that definition that you just gave, because that was like the most beautiful thing ever.
No,
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No. I was gonna say, Jen, what you said as well was very on point too. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Wait, oh no, I'm just no. I was gonna say, yeah, going off what both of you guys said, yeah, honestly, that genuine love for yourself, it is definitely going to shine. And I think too, the more you fill up your tank with the love for yourself, you'll have more to pour into others. None of us ever want to go on E with love. I feel like once we stop loving ourselves, we're gonna start. It's gonna show on to other people, and then we're not even gonna recognize love when it's coming at us. I had to learn that too. Like, when you're not loving yourself properly, how can you recognize when someone is being genuine or being nice to you and stuff? You're gonna think they're under attack. They're coming at you in a certain way because you don't recognize it. So you have to constantly familiarize yourself with the genuine feeling of love, so you can accept the love too when it's also being poured into you as well. And like Jim was saying too about the 5 love languages. Acknowledging, okay, this person likes quality time, this person likes this. Knowing like, okay, when they're doing those tiny things, those acts of love, you're not getting mad because it's not the love that you typically give yourself. The certain category of it.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to share something that Jen had mentioned about like how when you love yourself, all your other relationships flourish. Like, and not just with other people, like work relationships, like family relationships. If you have kids, like everything, because if you're loving yourself, you're just able to, like you said, pour that same love out to other people. And you're also kind of have like this thing, you build those boundaries where you're not accepting the love that you know what you deserve. So you're not accepting just anything that's not what it's not for you. So it just opens up your mind, and again, your mental health, what I'm saying? Like it just all connects.
Yeah, yes, well said. Shout out to Jody Foundation. Said nice topic. Well, thank you for joining us, SpeakUpJV. Feel free to ask any questions or join the conversation. So we wanted, okay, so our new topic we're going to bring in too is not everyone knows what healthy love looks like. Be patient with others. So like you were saying, 3 people could be siblings raised in the same household, but definitely come out very differently. So look at all 3 of us on this call right now. We are all from different households. We have a certain way, and I've been learning too. Not everyone was raised the same way or has those same ideals or same view of what love is. You know what I mean? So it's also too, when you are giving those acts of services, those acts of love, not to take things personal when a person isn't accepting of it because they don't probably see it as love.
Yeah, definitely, and like you have to be understanding also, like you said, because like that's something that I have to forgive my parents for, because they love me the way they were shown how to love. You know what I'm saying? They love me the way they were shown how to love. So if my dad's father never told him he loved him, then in my dad's mind, he didn't think that was the thing for him to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to tell my son he loves him because he should already know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that, like, you know what I'm saying? So like, you have to be understanding and be forgiving, especially when it comes to like our family members sometimes, depending on what it is, of course. But, that's something that like I said, helped the relationship between me and my parents was like me forgiving them for that. You know what I'm saying? And understanding that they were taught how to love by somebody else, and their definition of love may be different than mine because I started this journey, and so like I kind of know what kind of love I want and what kind of love I want to give to others. But their definition of love might have been what they received from their parents and their family, which is totally different than than what I expect. So it's very important to just be understanding. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that's one of the definitions of love, is just being understanding.
Mm-hmm. And with love being like patient too, you know, taking that time out to try to fix the relationship when you can. Like you say, you know what you know, you actually took mental health, you know, to another level compared to probably wherever, you know, our families were, you know, if we're breaking the cycle, especially. So, you know, I love that when we can put all that aside and learn to forgive and try to fix the relationships around us for the better. Oh, Bessie, we have a comment.
Yeah, I was gonna say shout out to Leah Knows Beauty. So true. If you can love yourself, you're able to identify when being shown to you and able to give it to others. Absolutely. And this is why we always emphasize, right, that your relationship with yourself is the one that's going to determine what the rest of your relationships in your life are going to look like. So absolutely 100%. And I wanted to add too, you know, because I know we're on the topic of like maybe not knowing what healthy love looks like, even certain things that it's not necessarily unhealthy to have, but it's, you know, important to bring into a relationship if you want to make it work. Like for example, with my family, we're not very affectionate. You know, and my best friend knows this. I'm not a very affectionate person. It's not because we don't love each other. It's just we've always shown love in a different way. Like, you know, maybe I spend time with my mom talking or in the kitchen with her or anything like that, but we never really hug. But with my partner, I've had to learn to be more affectionate because he is an affectionate person. So it's not that it was even unhealthy in my household growing up. It's just more of like, oh, you know, it just was never something discussed. Like how you were saying with maybe your father's father not saying I love you to him, you know, you don't think of it having to be brought down. So with mine, it's something that I'm learning of like, oh, this is something that makes him feel loved. So it's something that I'm going to actively know that I have to do. And it actually makes me feel better because it helps me grow not only as a partner but as a person too, where it's like, oh, hugging isn't so scary, you know, like I can hug more freely, I can love more freely. So when you think about different things like that too, like maybe there's things that you wanted to try when you were younger, like maybe your family doesn't greet each other, you know, or doesn't eat dinner together all the time, or different things like that, but it's something that you want to incorporate into your life, then that's something that we can definitely start bringing in the older we get and the more that we start to understand the different ways that people like to be loved.
Mm.
I love that. Shout out to you for like growing. You know what I'm saying? Like being understanding and growing with your partner. I think that's a beautiful thing. Like you said, everyone is raised differently, right? And it doesn't mean that we were lacking love, but that was just the love that we knew or we received, and we were okay with it. But then we meet people that have different ways that they were loved and that they accept. That, you know, they kind of like I'm the kind of person too. I love hugs. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all can tell, but I love hugs. You know what I mean? Like so like I can understand, but I always ask somebody like before I give them a hug, like, is it okay if I hug you? Because I know that not everybody's is okay with a hug. I mean, I feel comfortable with it. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think it's super dope, Jen, that you have grown. You know, when it comes to that in your relationship with your partner, it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's that knowing that love doesn't have to be so extreme, and it is those little subtle gestures like the hug or the I love you, or just tweaking little things about yourself to make sure the person feels love, like Jim was referring to with her partner as well. So we have a question for you. Have you ever had a negative reaction while giving love to others in the public setting? So, you know, with your movement or anything.
I mean, I mean, there's people that like roll their eyes or like, you know what I'm saying? Like I saw there was a few dudes when I was in Charlotte, which is the last city I hit, like they kind of like looked at it and like turned around. Like I guess they was making a joke about it. But, you know, I just don't feed into that. The way I look at it is just that they're not ready. You know what I'm saying? They're not ready or they haven't hit that part of their journey in life yet. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we all get to that point in life where we hit that. Unfortunately, some later than others. Some find out like late in their life. Like I'm talking about like 80 years old. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like I've seen people, like I've heard of people that are like in the hospital bed and saying, you know, they want to say to everybody they love them. They're going through all this. That's when they realize it. Unfortunately, it took that, or it took them that long to get there. You know what I mean? But I don't ever feed into it. I just in my mind, I just say they're not ready yet. You know, and I don't force it on people, and I don't feed into it as well. And I don't let it stop me because nothing can stop me from spreading love and showing love to people. Like there's nothing that can stop me. I tell people all the time, I will never stop, and it doesn't matter what. There's nothing negative, like nobody's negative reaction or nobody's negative comments could ever stop me from my purpose and what I want to do in this world.
Mm. I love how you answered that question because, yeah, you were honest about what, these experiences that you've been through, but I love the lesson in it. You're like, okay, that ain't stopping me. No, it's out here. I'm not going to give it no attention. I'm not going to feed into it. And I think, one thing I like about our platform is that we're not afraid to go there with those questions and like act, these are real life scenarios, because it's going to
Of
be a time
course.
you can have genuine intentions doing you on the street, but someone is rejected to it. But it's like, how do we still have that self-love and move forward even when our love isn't being reciprocated? So that was a great answer. Ooh, we have another comment.
Sorry, y'all, my internet was acting up. But the other comment from Jody Foundation: parental care has a lot to do with the reciprocated love to people who come across. Some people can really be in great love with you, but only you never realize the magnitude. And this is big, right? It goes with what we were saying, like maybe certain things we didn't see or we didn't know growing up. So we're growing up also not knowing how to properly express or even see that somebody is trying to love us, but it's like, oh, well, I've never seen that. So this is why, again, it goes back with internal, starting within yourself. Find out how you like to be loved. Find out how you actually show love, because those could be two different things as well. Maybe the way that you like to be loved is somebody being affectionate with you, right? Or spending quality time with you versus you showing love. Like me, I give gifts. That's my way of showing love. But I'm not very affectionate, but I love you if I give you gifts. So, there's two different ways. Yeah, two different ways, of love for one person, and then one person may have many multiple ways. So always just dig deep within yourself and really just ask yourself those hard questions. Face yourself in the mirror if you have to too, because that may be the answer that you didn't even know you had to be looking for. So we also have another question for you, since you brought up that like these men, who possibly made a joke about what they saw you doing, and that you said they're probably not there yet in their journey. So what tips would you have given maybe to these men or just to people in general who seem to be struggling to love themselves?
I would have asked them like, what's so funny? Because that's just me. I'm very straight up. I'd be like, what's so funny? Just to get, just to see what it is. And I promise you that the answer they would have given me would probably have been like a type of answer, because I'm sure whoever made the first joke was just making it trying to be cool for his friends. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to be funny or trying to be cool. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing funny about what I'm doing. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like it's something funny. Like I couldn't stand if it was something funny that I was doing or something, like I get it. But a lot of times us men, we do things to try to impress our fellow friends. You know what I'm saying? So we make a comment like to mask. Maybe the person that made that joke was affected by what he read on my sign. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe he saw it and he's like, oh shit, that hit me. Let me make a joke. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, so no one brings it up and we don't talk about it. But that's what I would do. I would ask him like, hey, what's so funny? And from there I'd be like, hey, do y'all know what this means? Like I would just have the conversation. I have a way of having conversations with people. I never come across as aggressive. I always come across again with love. And even if you're making fun of me, I'm still gonna come with you with love, because you're not gonna get under my skin about laughing at me or anything like that. But that's how I would go about it, and that's how I've been going about life. Period. There's people that throughout life, there's people that obviously make fun of you or make jokes about you or make comments, whatever the case may be. And what I just do is I just hit them with kindness. You know what I'm saying? Like, because now when you do make fun of me or you did make fun of me, you're gonna feel a little bad about that. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like you're laughing at somebody who is trying to spread love and show love to people. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes I think about that, like just but that's going out of my way to do stuff sometimes, and I don't like to go if my focus is to spread love, I don't like to go out of my way to stop, because now that's moments I'm taking away from somebody who could have missed reading my sign and needed that sign to me go confront somebody who's not ready yet for that journey. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you just gave me an idea. Maybe what I need to do is one day when I go with my sign is the focus should be speaking to people who maybe are ignoring me or making fun of the sign. You know what I'm saying? And just not aggressively, but just be like, hey, what's so funny? Or,
Yeah.
what, you don't like my sign, like just be like to see what the responses will be. You know what I'm saying? I think that'd be kind of cool.
And I love how even through that, you're thinking of loving them through it. Like loving them through laughing or making jokes. So I like that. Hey, yeah, that better be your next post. I'm playing. No, but it's true. And I think it goes with our next topic, the importance of learning to accept genuine love, because it's like for them to laugh, obviously it's something unfamiliar to them that's not that they're not actively having in their own life with themselves. So you're right. It's like there's a reason that's funny or that's odd to them. A person who's giving genuine love in public. So that was well said. Oh, we have another comment. Let's see.
Leah knows beauty. Agreed. A lot of men do hide how they're really feeling under jokes or displaying a tough exterior. Yeah, this is big. And this is why I appreciate having you on our show, because obviously we can only speak from the women's perspective. So you're bringing that other side into it, and you can really describe it in a way that only if you've ever lived it, you know how to say it. So definitely thank you for that. And shedding a light too on how there may be a lot of people like this, especially a lot of men like this. I think one thing that really gets me about trying to find a movement or even be yourself these days is that it's so quote unquote cringe, right? To be like that, to try and display love. Even for us, we've gotten certain comments here and there of oh, you think your quote unquote little podcast is doing this and that, and it worries me because it shows me that a lot of us are more about what we're trying to show versus what we really have inside. If we really reached out to one another as human beings too in a society, I think we would be a lot more united and feel like, hey, I'm not so alone. Because I know a lot of people too are complaining about the loneliness that they're feeling, especially after the whole pandemic and everything. But it's why is that? Are we just afraid to reach out to each other again? Whether it's through a hug or a phone call or, just different things. And I get it. We're all going through life, and I get a lot of things have changed since the pandemic. But it's when did it become an issue for us to try and continue spreading that, right? Trying to find a different way to show people that it's okay to still love, even if it is your immediate people, right? I'm not saying you have to love everybody in the world, but at least the people around you, the people who are showing up for you, the people who care about you and you care about in return. So I would be very curious to see what your tour would look like if you got the answers from people who don't necessarily want to participate, because I feel like those are the people who may be needing it the most.
Yeah. I also feel like sometimes people, even though at the end of the day, I know they looked at my sign. You know what I'm saying? I know they looked at it, and even though it wasn't the response maybe that I was looking for, or it wasn't a positive response, you gave a response to, which means you took the time to read the sign, and it means that you're taking that message with you. And even though you may not be paying attention to it, but I feel I'm a huge believer in the things you consume and the things that you take them with you, you know what I'm saying? So even though maybe, like I said, maybe those three guys that were laughing at my sign, maybe at that point they were laughing about it, but maybe something will happen in their journey of their lives when they'll come back and think, oh snap, yo, remember that time when that dude was holding that sign and we was in Charlotte and he was holding that sign? You know what I'm saying? You never know how that could come back to connect with them. So that's why to me, as long as they read it, as long as they read the sign, they look at it. You know what I'm saying? To me, really, the only negative response, I take it, the only negative response that people just walk I don't exist. That right there, it's just really, you know what I'm saying? It's just you see me standing here and I get it, but sometimes it's we read the dumbest things sometimes, and we do this, we look up the dumbest things. So if I saw somebody holding up a sign, I would always stop seeing what it says, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? But to me, that's just society, I guess, right?
Especially if it's meaningful what's being put out there. But yeah, we feed off, the society feeds off hate, anger, and stuff like that. So no. But on the flip side, what's a memorable reaction that you received?
Oh man, it's been so many. When I was in Philly, there was a woman. We had a conversation. She came really close to me in private. And sometimes I take pics and stuff like that. People that give me hugs and stuff like that. I capture those moments. But I could tell by the way she was looking at the sign, she was in very deep thought. So I just told my photographer like to like, like send to the side, like, what I'm saying, because I could tell she's going through something really deep right now. So she looked at it, she kept looking at it, and she finally, like, it took like 3 minutes, which felt like an eternity because I was there holding up the sign, but she was just looking at it. And she was actually from Finland. She had said that her son had committed suicide like 20 years ago. Like her son had committed suicide 20 years ago. So like what she was reading really resonated with her, and she was like, I just wish that maybe he would have seen something like this before something like that happened, or that like that this was something that like he would have came across. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like that's probably one of the most memorable moments. People tell me a lot of their stories and things they've gone through and they're going through. But that was probably one of the most. It was just something because the way she was looking at the sign, you know what I'm saying? Like it was, you could tell like she was really like taking it in, and she was probably like, just remembering her son. Like she was probably going through all the memories in her head and everything like that. And that was in Philly, and that was like I after that happened, I took like a break after I had that conversation with her, because even I was like going through it, what I'm saying, emotionally, in the sense of like, damn, what I'm saying, like she shared that with me, and it just shows you like 20 years later, it's still affecting her, and she's still thinking about it, and it's still something that's living with her for the rest of her life. And that was probably one of the most memorable moments.
That's really hard. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's what you're gonna talk.
yeah, no, that hurt hearing that. And I want to say too, it definitely goes with the whole impact over popularity, because it's like the fact you touched one person right there, just for that, it's like, we're so big. I think the generation, we focus so much on views and likes and all this, having this mega platform and stuff. But it's like those moments like that, that's what matters the most, when you impact at least one person. Like sometimes me and Jen get random messages from like one person saying they were going through something that our show was about. That right there, that one little message, whatever it is,
Right.
one or two, will keep us wanting to make a whole nother episode. You know what I mean? Because really it's about that weighs heavier than a million likes or things like that, like fake, genuine, ungenuine likes at that. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course, and that's something that, like, when I go out there, I just, the reason why I show that I'm out there is because, again, I want to inspire somebody else. If I were to see somebody else post themselves holding up the sign in another city, that would make my heart so happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I inspired you now to show love to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, what people consume is what people do. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we consume all this negativity, we consume all this stuff on social media, we consume all this stuff that's just like, to me, it's really just garbage. You know what I'm saying? And instead of consuming that, why can't we consume the opposite? And then maybe like show love to people and spread love to people, instead of like all this nonsense talk, all this negative talk sometimes that we see on social media. You know what I'm saying? But like a story like that, that's not a story that I share with everybody. I share it with y'all because we're in this space right now, and I know it's a safe space. But that's a story that I've only shared with people that are like close to me. You know what I'm saying? Like on my couch and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not something that I would share like on, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that would be the highlight, or like I wouldn't want to get views or likes off somebody's story like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what my movement is about. My movement is about spreading love and inspiring others to spread love as well. And that's what my movement is about.
That's a beautiful thing. I have a few things, but I did want to acknowledge some of the comments that we have. So Jody Foundation asked, is love affected by geographical factors, i.e. is family love in the US the same as we have it here in Kenya? Honestly, I wouldn't know to respond to that, but I would think so, because from what I know, at least different cultures definitely have different ways of showing love. So I would say yes to that. Definitely, I know, like, I love you may be more comfortable in one culture than it is in another culture. So I think that's the best answer that I can give to that. And then Leah Knows Beauty wrote, quality over quantity. Absolutely. Like, that's definitely what we want to do with everything that we talk about, especially with all the guests that we talk about as well, that even if it only reaches one person, right, or even us here in this space, that's the most beautiful thing that we can do. Like, it's more that connection building, more of that spreading that love and that awareness. And then going back to the story that you brought up, I just wanted to put out there for anybody listening, if you do feel like you're struggling with something, please don't be afraid to reach out for professional help. I know we talk about this in every single episode, but I know, like, with topics like this, it may bring up certain things, certain triggers, certain wounds that maybe we thought we were healing from and maybe not so much. So don't be afraid to reach out for that professional help, or even reach out to somebody that you definitely trust, because we would rather you be sharing something painful like this than you thinking you have nobody out there and thinking that your only solution is to not be here. Because I
Yeah.
think that's one of the scariest and most loneliest feelings that you can have in this world. So please reach out to somebody, so that they can give you that love, and maybe you can give that some of that love in return too. And then I wanted to ask you, like, with all the stories that you get, all the people that you interact with, how do you continue to take care of your mental health and pour love into yourself while, like, not letting their stories get to you as much?
Um, you know, these stories don't really get to me in that sense, like in a bad way. If anything, it inspires me and it shows me how important it is what I'm doing, the importance of what I'm doing. Like that's what it does. And it shows me how I must continue to love myself. For me, self talk, positive self talk, that's something that pushes me through a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like the way I speak to myself. Um, I feel like people tell me like that. Like I was in Charlotte and this dude came out. Like he looked like a real macho dude. Like he's one of these guys. He's like maybe in his 40s, like early 50s. Like really old school guy. So I'm standing there and he's sitting on the bench, right? And when I'm finished, he goes, yo, you have a lot of courage to do that, man. Props to you. You have a lot of courage to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, and like he said that to me, and I'm just like, again, it just shows like he was reading that sign, taking it in what I was doing. Like he was inspired what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and, and I just feel like, sorry, it's my dog. Hey, stop. All right. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. But what I was saying was that when it comes to me taking care of myself, I make sure that one, I take time for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I take that time apart, whether it be just sitting down and relaxing, listening to some music, or writing. I love to write. Um, whether it's just sitting down watching the basketball game, whether it just be, like little things sometimes that we take for granted. I again, and also like building those boundaries when it comes to like things that may trigger you would like to kind of feel in a certain way or feel negative. Like I feel like the more you get to know yourself, the more you love yourself, the more you know where your triggers are and things that may affect you in a negative way. I tell people that I'm a loving person, but I walk around with this like invisible like bubble where it's like nothing can penetrate it unless I allow it to penetrate it. So like I confront you with love, and if I feel like your love isn't genuine or you're being like whatever, I'm still gonna show you love, but you're not gonna penetrate my bubble. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna knock me off how I feel about myself or I feel about anything else. You know what I'm saying? So the stories, if anything, they inspire me and they impact me in a positive way. Um, there's nothing that I've done so far with my movement and the World Needs Love Tour where I could tell you that it has affected me in a negative way. There's absolutely nothing that has happened where I could be like, nah. If anything, it's like, yo, I can't wait for the next city. I can't wait to do this again. I can't wait to get out there again. Once the weather gets nice, I'm gonna be on that Brooklyn Bridge once a week showing love. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe when you pull up to New York City, maybe the weather will be nice. You might just find me on the Brooklyn Bridge. You know what I'm saying?
I'll
Like,
be there next
but
month.
but I just like, I don't know. It's just like I think I've come to a point in my life where loving myself comes first, and it's become very like just normal for me to just love myself.
Well, yeah, that was well said. That's like the number one thing right there, loving yourself. And I love how you say, ain't nothing finna knock me off my A game for what I'm doing. Like, I'm still gonna stay in my purpose and be there and spread that love. So, this time for our tweet up segment. So, y'all know I like to be on Twitter. So, something that I tweeted this week that goes with tonight's episode is, if genuine love doesn't feel right, take some time to figure out why. So, that goes with what we were talking about, that deep root doing that shadow work, understanding why is it hard for me to accept the good. Me and Jim were talking about this the other day, how it's easy for us to accept the bad. If someone says something mean about you, it's like, oh, but when someone says something nice, why for sometimes it's hard to accept those compliments or accept when genuine love is being presented to us. So that's a good point for today. So we have a question. Has there been a time in your life where you found it difficult to spread love?
I would definitely say when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely walked around with a mask.
Mm.
I definitely felt like I was gonna snuff somebody first before they snuffed me. Like before somebody hit me, I was gonna hit you first. You know what I'm saying? When it came to like, I played sports growing up. Played a lot of sports. Played basketball, baseball, and like just even being an athlete, like you feel like you need to be a certain way, act a certain way. Um, so yeah, at that time I wasn't spreading love to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just very like it was just like nah, like I wasn't nice to anybody, and like it's sad when I think back. But at the same time, it was all part of my journey. You know what I'm saying? Like I think back and I'm like, that wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? Like that was just me covering my the real me to fit in or to be to be accepted by people. And ultimately at the end of the day, I feel like we all go through that at some point in our lives where we feel like we have to be like someone or act like someone, or but um for me, that was probably the hardest time for me to spread love. I would say probably me like middle school, high school. I feel like I wasn't thinking about that. I was you feed into like the negativity or like the toxicness of everything. I don't know. It's just like the age you're going through.
Mm. Okay. Sorry, let me go back. Okay, well, thank you for that answer, and we want to push this on too. Don't let your love be conditional with yourself. So we all know we have a light and a dark side. We have our times when we're not our best self, and it's like learning to have grace with ourselves. And just because we're having a bad day or a rough patch doesn't give us excuse to stop loving ourselves even more. I feel like if anything, we have to love ourselves even more when we're going through those times, and be able to nurture ourselves through it. And, give ourselves that time. So it's time for our Life Up segment. So that's when we take the topic and we relate it to today's world. So what is our Life Up for tonight?
People thinking that to feel love, it can only come from someone else. And this is pretty much what we've been hinting on the entire episode, right? That we sometimes, I know I used to think this when I was younger, before I really started working on myself, that I used to think I would be happy if somebody else loved me enough, right? And obviously through a lot of trial and error, as we sometimes have to go through with love, I learned that that's not the case, that sometimes somebody can be loving you as best as they can, kind of like what Jody was saying earlier, that someone can really be in great love with you, but you never realize it, right? That goes back to that I was thinking like, oh, I'm not being loved properly, I'm not being appreciated, things like that. And obviously things work out or don't work out the way that they're supposed to, but those were lessons for me to ultimately be like, Jen, just be in love with yourself, right? Like love yourself enough the way that you would love somebody else, whether it's a family member, a friend, a partner, whichever, even like your coworkers that you get close to, those things. Like spread that love that you would want to spread to others onto yourself. And I think that's the true flex, as we say, the true win right here. But I think a lot of us forget this because we think that love is like almost a destination type of thing where it's like, oh, it's okay, I'll wait for the one and blah blah blah. But it's like, be the one for you. Be that relationship that you've always sought out to be. That's why they say take time to even get to know yourself, be single, all that stuff before fully doing things like this, because then you realize too what you're looking for, what you're willing to put up with too, what your deal breakers are, like different things like that. Even in friendships, in family stuff, you get to really learn about other people, but ultimately learn about yourself. But when we're waiting for somebody else, we might end up waiting our whole lives and we might not ever feel satisfied, and who knows how many people we might hurt along the way just because we weren't doing the work enough, expecting others to do the work for us.
Right. That's such good points. Such good points. And it's not really our fault. Like, just to piggyback off what you said, society, right? When you growing up, right, it's always about finding that one, right? Like you watch movies, you watch TV, you watch Disney movies. It's always about finding that person. It's not a lot about it's not about like your self love. We don't hear that a lot. Um, my next step for me is I want to like go and speak to youth, speak to younger people and speak about the importance of mental health and self-love, because I feel like that's when we start losing ourselves and we think that we need to find a relationship and be with somebody or be with this person or be with that, when the focus should be you. You know what I'm saying? You should be the focus, and when that relationship comes and that person comes, then hey, they get there. But like, it shouldn't be us searching for like that person or that partner or like that fantasy, that Disney sells us about, finding your prince or your princess or your king and your queen or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, be your own queen, be your own king,
Yes.
and
Oh,
then after that, you know what I'm saying? The rest will take care of itself.
that was really the line of the night right there. I'm sorry. No, that's real. And I think that's how we end up in like a toxic cycle of like trying to force the wrong people to love us, thinking if we love them even more, they're gonna love us more. If I do all these things for them, if I people please, we're gonna make them love me, because it's like that fear of just loving ourselves, or the fear of just being alone for a little bit to figure out who you are. So it's like, we have to remind ourselves too that the genuine people out there, they're just naturally gonna give us that love. It's gonna come naturally, it's gonna be genuine, and it's not gonna be something you have to fight for or force or love them more to get that feeling from them. So how do we fix this? We fix this by seeking love within ourselves first and remind people that they are loved too. I think a lot of people don't realize how loved they are. And it's like, that's why you have to, it's okay to reach out to your loved ones, or like you're doing, going out to strangers and telling them that they're loved and that they're worthy and that they're, they have a purpose on this planet.
All right. So true.
Yeah. So what's your favorite quote that you've written on a poster?
For me, it's definitely this one. It's the one that I carry with me everywhere I go, and it's like, you are important. You are loved. Your life matters. You are the only you in this world, and no one can replace you. I think that's something that has to be a constant reminder. Like, you are the only you, and that right there in itself makes you special. There's no one like you. Like, it could be someone that, like I said, it could be your sibling, it could be the closest thing. You can even have a twin. There's still no one like you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're still. Think about how special that is. You're the only you in this world. Like, there's no one like you. There's no one like you. You're the only thing. Think about everything else in this world. There's a million of these red cups. There's a million of these phones that I'm on right now. There's a billion of everything else. But when it comes to you, you are your own individual person, and that right there makes you special. You know what I'm saying? And that's a gift that you can never forget, that you are special and that you matter. You know what I'm saying?
You're like telling people you are the present, right? Like, you are the gift. I love that so much. Hearing that reminds me of, I don't know if y'all have ever seen the movie The Help with Viola Davis, but it reminds me of this scene where she's talking to the little girl and she's telling her, you was smart, you was important, you was loved. And it's like along those same lines of letting that little girl know that she matters, right? That even if like her family doesn't tell her enough, even if she grows up and she forgets all about Viola Davis's character, that she will always still be important. And it's along those same lines of what we're trying to reach in this episode, of letting people know, like, yeah, you matter, but you're the only one who can make yourself feel that way too in the end. Like, as much as, we may have close loved ones, our friends, our family, whichever, let us know. If we're not letting ourselves know, then none of that is going to make as much of a difference as when we finally realize it ourselves. So always reminding ourselves of that, what you were mentioning, I think is super important. And, we're definitely going to be spreading that message out there a lot more, because I think more people need to realize this, that, yeah, you are only one, right? You are just one person, but you are the
One of one.
Yes, one-on-one. And positive affirmations matter. So y'all know what time it is. It is time for our drink up water segment. So if you're listening out there, please pull out some water and drink some water. And Jen got a water fact for tonight.
All right, so tonight's water fact is a study published in September 2022 in European Heart Journal suggests that maintaining good hydration can slow down or even prevent changes within the heart that lead to heart failure. The study tracked nearly 12,000 middle-aged adults for 25 years, and it found that study participants who were adequately hydrated had lower levels of sodium in their system 25 years later. High sodium levels are a known precursor to heart failure. So when I was reading this, I was like, wait, what? Like, we always tell people, right, stay hydrated, things like that. But when you really break down, like, how water is beneficial to all the different body parts, and then finding out that it's super beneficial to your heart, then it's like, all right, let me just keep upping it. And I actually love that this message is being spread across more, about drinking water, but also like the facts that we have to learn of why we're even telling people to drink water. So definitely drink water, y'all, especially if you want to take care of your heart, because without your heart, you can't properly spread that love. So make sure you drink that water.
The love gotta be pumping, okay? So where do you see your movement in 5 years manifested?
Oh man, it's gonna be all over the world. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be in different countries. My song's gonna be in Spanish. It's gonna be in different languages. I'm gonna be all over the place, and it's gonna be a message where it's gonna resonate. And it's gonna be everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Whether I'm holding it or someone else is holding it up, it's gonna be all over the world. That's where my movement's gonna be in 5 years.
Ooh, love that. Oh, we have a comment, some love in the comments.
Jody put, great presenters, like the wonderful grasp of the topic, enjoying the show. Yay, thank you. And we're enjoying the engagement as well. Definitely love to hear from anybody listening. Like, it's such a great thing that you're even listening. So thank you for that.
Yes. So y'all know Jen is a quote, so she got a quote up for tonight.
All right, so tonight's quote up is, spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. This was said by Mother Teresa. And I really like this quote because, especially of the last part, right? Like, let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. And I feel like that's a motto that I've been even like subconsciously trying to live by, that I like, kind of like we were talking about earlier, how do we spread love? Like letting people know that there's still happiness out there, that there's still love out there, and that anytime they're around you, like they can feel that type of energy. So making sure that you are spreading that love, whether it's like the tours that Mozo's doing, or even through the show like we're doing, or just in regular everyday conversations, or even just listening to somebody, can be a different way to spread that. But always make sure that people leave happier once they leave a conversation.
Oh, love it.
Great quote.
You picking on well, don't she? So what is a saying or phrase that keeps you going? Speaking of quotes.
What keeps me going? I don't know. I constantly tell myself every morning, like, you got this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something so simple, but I believe that how you start your day and how you speak to yourself in the morning kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day. I've never had a bad day when I wake up and say I'm gonna have a good day. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you wake up with that mindset, if you wake up saying I'm gonna have a good day, or I'm gonna do the best I can, or I got this, you kind of build yourself up for anything that comes along the way, any obstacle. You know what I'm saying? Instead of waking up being like, oh, today's gonna be one of them days. You know what I'm saying? You're already starting off. You're already setting yourself up for like anything that comes. Like, you're already manifesting. You're putting it out there. That's one. And two, when it does come, you'll be like, I knew it was gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So like, for me, it's just, you got this. Today's gonna be a good day. And don't stop believing in myself. Those are the things that I tell myself every morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they really keep me going. Because I'm not gonna say I don't have bad days. Obviously, I do. I would say I have bad moments. Because I don't allow the moments or the obstacles, let them like take over, consume my day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always say, hey, they happened, and most of the time it's out of my control, which is another thing we gotta remember, is like, we can only control what we can control. Some things are out of our control, and when things are out of our control, all we can do is it's all about how we respond to it, right? So respond to it the way that you feel is the best way to respond to it, and so that your day isn't consumed by that one bad moment or that one bad thing that happened. An example I give all the time is like, if you're at work and somebody calls out, right? And it's like, damn, now I got more work to do, or damn, now I got more stuff to do. You don't know what it is that happened with that person. That's one, right? Like, you don't know what the reason. Maybe they called out because they had a party last night, and maybe they called out because something happened, or they're not feeling well, right? Mm-hmm. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's out of your control. All you can control now is how you respond to it. Yeah, you might have a little more work to do, but then pace yourself. Be like, hey, I'm not gonna kill myself today because hey, I know the work I gotta do. I'm not gonna go crazy because now I gotta do somebody else's work. But at the end, like it's all about how you respond to the things that happen, and especially when it's out of your control. Don't respond to it. Don't go crazy. And even when it's you, be gentle and be kind with yourself because we all make mistakes, and that's how we learn. We learn from our mistakes, and we grow from our mistakes. So don't be so hard on yourself, people. Be kind. We all make mistakes. It's okay.
When it's out of your control, control you. So I like that.
That's
We
it.
should have had
That's
you
it.
on last week because our last week's episode was about bad days. I was trying to think what it was about, but that would have been a perfect intro right there. So, y'all, it is time for our wrap up segment. So, how does this relate to self love? Self love is loving yourself enough to spread the love. Look, just let that cup just fill up and just give it out. You know, I think that's the best. This whole episode wrap that all the way up. So, before we go, how do you practice self love?
Oh, so for me, like I said before, I just, I take the time to myself. I meditate. I like quiet spaces sometimes. I'm just like in my own zone. I've been the more I've on this journey I've been on, I'm very like particular with the stuff that I consume, even music. You know what I'm saying? There's a time and place for certain music, and I just like I'm just like in a calm space. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, I like a good time. Like you might find me on the gram going out one night, and you know what I'm saying, like in Manhattan chilling. But like I'm saying for the most part, like I'm just trying to stay balanced and just stay calm.
It's all about that balance. Absolutely. So also in wrapping up this episode, we wanted to mention that we have to let go of grudges if we're properly trying to spread love or receive love. I think a lot of things that we forget about love too is that it requires a lot of forgiveness, right? We are all flawed. We've all either disappointed or been disappointed. And I think it's important for us to remember that, so that way when that happens, because it's gonna come in, remember to practice that grace and that forgiveness. And then when we say we're gonna move on, to truly try and move on, of course depending on the situation. But I think at that point, if you're having difficulty letting go of the hurt that somebody did to you, maybe that's somebody that doesn't need to be either so close in your life or in your life at all. So definitely evaluating your relationships, of course, on a subjective basis. But when we're letting go of these grudges, just as an overall person, you feel lighter too. You're a much happier person overall in general, and you realize you're not so easily consumed by the negativity, the toxicity that's going on right now, especially if you're logging into any type of social media. So just making sure that you're able to build those defenses up enough to where, you know what, I love myself regardless of how someone made me feel, and I'm going to continue with my life regardless of what happened, and I'm willing to either let that hurt go or let that person go along with it.
Oh, yeah,
I
that was
love that.
and we can't. I cut you off. I cut you off.
No, I just said I love that.
Oh, you're right. Jesus, you did that. And we can't love properly if we're always mad or in defense mode. I've been learning that too. Letting the love flow, letting it be freely. Remember, y'all, love is an action. It's an active thing that is practiced every day. It's not like, oh, like Jim was saying earlier, it's not just a destination, that's the ending. It's something that's practiced every day. It's a process. So, what do you want to be remembered for? This is a question we love to ask all of our guests before we close out.
I want to be remembered for somebody who left an impact through love. You know what I'm saying? Like that everything that I did, everything that I left behind, everything that I did or I'm doing, that the root of it is love. You know what I'm saying? And it's love to everybody. Like even to the people that aren't ready for the journey or people that are not ready for it. I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I mean? Like, because it's just we live in a world right now where it's just like so much negativity and so much like hate that I feel like people are just so used to it now that they're not used to love, or they don't know what love is, or they don't care to know what love is, because they feel like, what do we need that for when there's so much negativity going on? So what I want to leave behind, I want to leave it an impact, but I want it to be known that it came from love, from genuine love, and it came from love for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell people all the time when I go out there, there's people from all over the place. Like it's not just like, yeah, like I like to impact, especially like other men, because I'm a man, right? And that's what I can relate to. But it's for everybody, you know what I'm saying? From every part of the world, no matter what you identify as, it's coming through love, and that's what I want to leave behind. You know, I'm thinking about changing my name to Love, for real.
It's you. It fits you. And remember, y'all, before we close out, the love you show yourself will reflect and affect all the relationships in your life. So this is huge. So keep watering your plants before you water other plants. When your plants are nice enough, you can give some more sunlight to other ones. And Bestie, what is our wrap up for tonight?
I just wanted to add one more thing since we're talking about spreading the love. Spread love to animals too, yo. Like I know your doggy in the background. I have dogs too. I have a cat as well. I've had birds. Like making sure that love also goes to the animals. In however which way you can show it, but they deserve love too, because sometimes they're the ones who love you more than they love themselves. I would say those are things. But to wrap it up tonight, just reminding y'all that you set the tone for your love life, and that's your love life in romance, your love life in friendship, your love life in familial, and even your love life with yourself. So like you were saying, right, we can't control always what somebody says to us, does to us, what happens in the world, but we can control how we react to it, if we react to it at all, and then what kind of life we want to lead while we still have our time here. So making sure that you're always carrying yourself with grace and trying to practice that same grace with others, but mainly through that love that you can spread.
I love that. Set the tone. You know, burn them candles when that music on. Like we set the tone. Better with yourself. But we are happy that you were able to hop on with us, and so this was an amazing chat. Can you shout out your information so people can find you?
Yeah, before I do that, I want to give a shout out to both of you for what y'all doing on your platform and having these conversations and sharing your space with me. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about when I say about spreading love and inspiring. And, you know, someone's going to see this. Someone's seeing this right now. They might have a conversation with somebody about love, or they might think about loving themselves starting tomorrow, tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what this is about. And I truly, truly appreciate y'all having me on y'all show. And don't stop doing what y'all doing, because y'all definitely making an impact. Y'all making a difference by having those conversations.
Likewise.
But as far as if y'all want to check me out, y'all can check me out on social media. It's @_TheRealMozo. I mean, if you want to see some love, that's where you'll find some love. You know what I'm saying? Just hit my page up. The World Needs Love Tour is 4 cities down. Playing in my next city, and you know, and I'm not gonna stop. You know what I mean? This is the beginning, and I'm looking forward to what's next. Again, thank you.
Yes. We enjoyed having you. This was a powerful discussion, and I know somebody was impacted tonight. So thank you again for stopping by. Before we go though, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all can check us out on Instagram @SpeakUpJV, on Twitter @SpeakUpJV. We have some more pre-recorded episodes coming soon. So subscribe to our YouTube, Spotify, Apple channel. SpeakUpJV is global, as y'all know. Before we go, quick shout out to our amazing sponsors. Shout out to My Bar, located at 720 East Manchester in Inglewood, California. Get your nails, your lashes, your hair done. Ask for mine. Tell them that SpeakUpJV sent you. The Instagram is @nyy.bar.
And shout out to Be Actual Natural. Why settle for less? All their products are created with you in mind for a goal to let your self-love show through your self-care. Their chemical-free hair and skincare products are handmade, plant-based, and free of fillers or preservatives. Treat yourself while you're taking care of yourself. Start your journey at www.beactualnatural.com or check them out on Instagram @beactualnatural.
Yes, we'll be back live next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Tell your friends. And y'all make sure y'all tap in with Mozo's content, y'all. Love y'all. See y'all soon.
Peace and love, y'all. Peace and love.